So our UI is updated, but our data isn't really. So remove flick. First, we remove from the DOM. Then we need to remove from the array. How do we do that? We need to look through the array until we find the flick we want and then remove it. But how do we do that? How do we know which flick it is? Look, like the ID. So on the actual list item, there is a data ID attribute. We could look at that and then loop through the array looking for the one with the same ID. Yeah, what were you going to say? Object.is. And keep going. And do what? So how do you get the one that it was clicked on? Interesting. Are you like storing the li in the array or something, or? Okay. Okay. So if you actually had the object inside here, we could compare it. So down here in render list item, we have the flick, right? So what if we used bind to pass it up there too? What if we did this? Pass in the item and the flick. Remember, event will always be the last one. What if we did that? Then we have the flick. Then we can look through the array for that exact one. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, we could do that. Could we use index of to do that? You guys know index of? So, for example, I've got an array with fruits and veggies. How about we save that to a variable? r.index of veggies. 1. Index of fruits. 0. Index of pancakes. -1 means it's not in there. So you can find which index of that array contains the item you're looking for. So we could try that. So how about const I equals, the array is this dot flicks, right? This dot flicks dot index of flick. Now she was saying to compare the objects another way, but I think this is the way it's going to work. Let's see. Heck, let's just console log it for right this second. Let's see what happens. I got 1. I got 0. I got 2. So it finds it still. Comparing objects to each other is kind of an iffy thing in JavaScript. But as it happens, it's not actually a separate object that is equal to the first. It's the same dang object. So we can just use index of. And we'll see what I mean by it's the same object here in a little bit. So now we found it. We know which index in the array contains that flick. So what good does that do us? How do we remove it from the array? On 3. 1, 2, 3. Splice. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, array splice. How's that work? JavaScript array splice. Here we go. Changes the contents of an array by removing existing elements and or adding new elements. Okay. First argument, start. The index at which to start changing the array. So, again, that's this dot flicks dot splice. What index do we want to start changing it at? I, right? Whichever one we found it at. Okay. Delete count is the second optional argument. An integer indicating the number of old array elements to remove. We want to remove one thing. From there, the rest of the arguments are elements to add to the array, which we're not going to do. So it looks like splice I, comma 1 ought to do the trick. Is it all true? Let's add a couple things. Step up, G.I. Joe, Magic Mike. Let's look at app.flicks. We got 3 things in there. There they are. Let's delete the middle one. Yep. It's gone from the array. Not bad, not bad. So again, what we did first, we passed the flick into remove flick, just like we did item using bind. And then we searched through the array using index of to find where in the array that item was, that flick was rather. Then we spliced one element out of that array at that index. Remove flicks from the array. Good. Array.splice.